But in the meantime, right now, you'll get the chance to hear from Bridget Douglas. Bridget is an alumni of the contest, and this afternoon she's one of the adjudicators. A couple of days ago, she talked to RadioNZ Concert's Juliet Sivertson about what the adjudicators look for in the groups that make it through to the final stage. But first, Bridget talks about the calibre of the contestants in this year's final. We'll see you back in 20 minutes or so.
Well, I know that it's extremely high. I've had a little taste of what's in store for me this weekend, and I am very, very excited about the talented young musicians that we have playing for us. I was performing in a concert on Sunday in Wellington, and one of the Wellington groups that has made it through to the finals was there performing part of their piece, and I was blown away with the standard of their playing, and I know that is going to be just across the spectrum. All of the 12 groups that have made it into this final and semi-final round are just they'll be playing at a musical maturity that's way beyond their years.
It's obviously going to make things quite challenging for you as a judge. What are you looking for in the winning group?
At this level, when you're really listening to the top young musicians in the country, it's really a given that they can all play their instruments well. They're all doing exactly what's on the page. So you're not just looking for accuracy anymore. That's expected. What you're looking is for a group that communicates not only with each other, but with the audience and brings the music alive. An inspiring performance that inspires the audience and really just communicates something special. You want to feel chills going down your spine. And look, I'm confident that we'll probably have a really tough call to make, because there's probably many of those groups will do that for us.
As a musician, how do you show that communication and engagement with the audience?
Look, there are lots of different ways. Even though as a musician, your number one sense is your ears and your listening, I think it is really important on stage to connect visually with the other performers on the stage, your fellow performers. I think by looking as well as listening, you deepen your communication and it shows in the music making as well. And I think it also just engages the audience more. Most of these kids will have memorised these pieces of music. They'll have the music there because that's just what you do for chamber music, but they won't need it. And I'm expecting that there'll just be an incredible intensity and passion on stage that will just, it should really be obvious and should be felt from the audience.
Now, you participated in this competition yourself some years ago. How demanding is it for a young person to compete at this national level? Of course, given many are juggling schoolwork at the same time. I
think it's becoming harder and harder, but at the same time, the kids that are, you have so many participants. I think I read there were 1,800 young New Zealanders who participated in this competition nationally this year. As you said, almost 500 groups competed. And these ones that have come through to this level would have put in so much time and dedication and energy, and not only them, their teachers, their parents, their entire support networks, and they're already playing at an elite level, and I'm sure that many of them will carry on to become, professional musicians. But yes, they will have given up a lot of things. They will have had to practice for hours and hours instead of, maybe hanging out with their friends. But at the same time, they get so much from it. And, as a musician, it's such a wonderful experience. Like, you get as much out of your performances as what you put into it. So all that hard work really does pay off, especially when they have this opportunity to perform for a national audience at the Fowler Centre in Wellington. It's just an incredible opportunity for them.
So how does this contest and other similar competitions, how does it help shape a young musician's future? What role do you see this contest playing in the development of young musicians?
An incredibly vital one in New Zealand. It's the only competition of its sort for high school performers. It's dedicated for school musicians, and it's specific to chamber music. To become a well-rounded musician, I think you need to experience all the different facets of music making. So you spend a lot of time practicing on your own, technical exercises, and then your solo pieces, and you prepare for solo exams. You might play in a youth orchestra, eventually hoping to get into the National Youth Orchestra. And those are incredibly important musical experiences. But chamber music is a huge piece of that, becoming a well-rounded musician. These musicians that participate in the competition, they actually have to make their own decisions about what they want to say musically, about how they want a passage to go, what it is they're trying to say with the music to the audience. In an orchestra, it's a little different. You get dictated to by a conductor, you get told, this is what I want, and then it's your job to deliver their vision. With chamber music, these young musicians have the opportunity to develop their own vision and their own special interpretation of these great masterpieces that we'll be hearing in the weekend.
So in that case, what makes a good chamber musician compared to, say, a soloist or orchestral musician?
I think to be a good chamber musician, you have to be the consummate musician. You have to have incredible facility on your instrument. You have to be able to play, everything well, so you need to have a good technique. And you also need to be able to communicate well with others musically, but also actually just in the way that you talk and discuss the music with your other chamber musicians. You have to reach a consensus about what it is you're trying to say. If you're disagreeing with those, the other people in your chamber group, you can hear that in the music and it's not going to sound as one. So I think really a great chamber musician is someone that gives and takes in equal amounts in terms of their musical input and just their intellectual input as well into the music.
Seems to be an extraordinary amount of young talent in New Zealand. What do you think that shows about the country's young musical talent and, of course, our attitudes towards learning music at an early age?
There were actually 1,800 young musicians that participated. So I think it does show that music and classical music is alive and well in New Zealand. I think there are an incredible number of hardworking teachers out there in the schools, but also privately, that are nurturing these young talents and providing that inspiration and support that they need to really take things through to a higher level. I think with chamber music, if we can inspire and encourage these young musicians to have an emotional connection to the music, it not only connects with the music, I think it also gives them an emotional connection to everything in life. So even if they don't end up doing music as a career, the amount of work and dedication that they've put into preparing for a competition like this, it can only have positive repercussions for everything else that they do in their lives. I mean, playing the music is such a joy-filled thing to do. Playing with other people even adds to that joy, and then, it can only make you feel good about yourself sort of away from the music as well and your interactions with the world. So I think if everyone played chamber music, the world would be a much happier place.
So some good life lessons then to be learnt.
Yeah.
From your experience participating in this competition, did it help shape and develop your own musical career?
It did. It was certainly a very, very important experience for me. I started off in Dunedin. I had a wonderful teacher that used to put in lots and lots of flute players. She taught all the flute players in Dunedin, Denise Wark, and she just encouraged and supported us. The number of extra lessons she would give all of her flute students in the lead up to these competitions was incredible. But eventually I got into a group in my last year of high school that got through to the finals, and the opportunity over my high school years to grow and develop as a chamber musician because of this competition ultimately, I think, led to me falling in love even more with the flute and with music and wanting to become a professional musician. The experiences and the relationships that you have in preparing for this competition are some of the most formative experiences you can have as a young musician. They certainly were for me, and were up there as much as, say, the National Youth Orchestra experience for me. And it really, if it didn't exist, I don't think I would have necessarily, come through in the same way as a professional musician.
Excellent. So finally, do you have any last-minute words of advice, perhaps, for those competing this weekend?
My advice is that, look, you've done all the hard work. You've made it through to the finals. Give yourselves all a really big pat on the back. Now, I think what we want is something special. Really, really enjoy your time on the stage with your musicians and just think about really communicating the essence of the music in your own particular way to the audience and to the judges and enjoy it, and that will just come through, and I can't wait to celebrate that with you.